And that Season 3, by the way, was the last time we saw the full Korean lineup for Talon Esports before shifting over to a mixed roles, mixed nationalities, and now Hong Kong Attitude, the team that won that season, is spread out across this team as well as Nova, now starting things out in ruins again. Bashful sniping, Panapan on the Sombra. You know something's up when Panapan is not actually sniping himself.
Really just looking forward to this one, I've got to be honest. Kim Yute does have a decent Widowmaker, but I do just expect Bashful to keep a lid on this one. And I think it might just come down to the fact that you kind of want Panapan on both those roles. You've got to split the difference somewhat.
What I think that's the amazing thing is, if you're trusting Bashful enough to be sniping over Panapan, then he's got to be putting out some real hits.
It's actually Gogoro who gets the first few hits out, though, taking out his counterpart in Little Rax.
Panapan's also leading here, 53% so far. They're about to cap this point, 6v5 for the time being until Global Esports get all their 6 members together as Faith looks for a little bit of HP before getting that Valkyrie up.
It's kind of just been a bit of a free cap there for Talon. I mean, not totally free, they just have to kill Little Rax for it. Mango Jai getting slept will get finished off by his counterpart, funnily enough. So as the trade starting to come in, as the res is there on Mango Jai, and Talon know the game plan. They just press on forwards and they're able to keep a real handle on Global Esports, to say the least.
By the way, Talon are just all over this map, but it doesn't seem uncoordinated. In a lot of cases, you'd say this is quite chaotic. All their members are kind of all over the place. However, as they are spreading throughout this map, they're getting all those kills as well. Both supports going down fairly quickly. Global Esports rather losing Faith fairly quickly. Xeon Flux got himself away, but this is the first real advantage that maybe Global Esports can use, and even then, quick res.
That's the thing. I mean, this is the advantage of having those mercies, but there's a reasonable connection. A couple of trades still, either way, so Global Esports, can they stay in this one? Raise on Xenofly.
Nice hack as well to come through. Can he collect the kill onto Xenofly though? Panapan's looking for something.
Gets an EMP because he did not quite get finished off, but they're not really in a great position to follow up on it. Luke has to go diving in. Xenofly is brought low, so he can't follow up, and then Luke eats an anti-heal. He will stay alive by way of Nano Boost, but they're not getting much more out of Nano Boost right now than the healing to rescue him. And this whole time, Talon have been in possession of the point anyway.
Well, the moment has passed. Unfortunately, Global Esports looking to even get a disconnect, sadly. And that is going to be main tank Luke gone, at least for the time being. He looked like he was probably dying anyway, but at the same time, look, we have an EMP coming through from Xenofly. Instantly gets chunked down, has to relocate, cannot put in his own damage. No one else is in there to put damage in. That was going to be the moment that maybe they can get some responses, but as it seems, even when Global Esports find some kills in there, find some trades in there, cannot convert that into actual objective pressure.
So there's been a bit of a... I mean, it's been expected, actually, is what I should really say. I was going to say it's been a rough start for Global Esports, but actually, this has been expected out of Talent. This is the caliber of the team. This is what they can do if you come in with any amount of disconnect on your engages, on your rotations.
Disconnect on your members. Quite literally.
I got nothing to say to that. What I was going to say is they're going to punish that. I mean, like, the in-game coordination, not the out-of-game connection. I guess they punish that too. I don't know. Can you? How do you even?
Yeah, because he lost his ultimate and he has to respawn now.
Talon's like, "Ha! You get what you deserve."
It doesn't help. What we're trying to say is it certainly doesn't help. Like, you need all the advantages you can get versus Talon, and unfortunately, this is something that is extra weighing you down. Yeah,
just in every sense of the word. Like from the door to the nodes to the hub to the server, you also need to have that interpersonal connection with your team. Your mouse needs to be connected to your computer. Just a lot of connections required to beat a team like Talon.
Yeah.
Really, if you're lacking any one of those, you probably won't win.
Especially some of the ones that you need to operate your apparatus. Luke has returned. Look, he went down anyway. The only sad thing is, like we said, he loses ultimate. 70, 80% now in the lead for Talon Esports, still holding on to ultimates.
And honestly, kill on Mango Jai was nice, but CQB's got a res again, so no harm, no foul.
EMP available for Panapan.
Trying to keep some pressure onto Muse. Good hack on Gogora as well. Grounds the bird for a moment, but Glory gets back up in the skies. Luke again just taking so much pressure. Bashful finds his counterpart, and as we round up towards 100%, I mean, Global Esports aren't even still really in a position to contest successfully. There's a rocket barrage that Gora's kind of stored up. The EMP connected nicely. There was a nice fire grenade as well, and 100-0 and a pretty comfortable one.
Yep. And for Global Esports as well, you can see, okay, when they got 3 members hacked out by the EMP, Padapan dropped it on top of them. All 3 went down. Very clean. Talon Esports to just secure the members they're supposed to secure. And they got killed so sparingly, I'd like to say, that there were plenty of reses from CQB to come through. Every time somebody maybe went down, you'd have to get at least 2 of them down to get a big advantage, because Talon just didn't seem like they were ever going to budge off that point. Of course, the disconnect doesn't help, but you don't want to sort of, I guess, sit on that for too long. Global Esports just need to reset themselves, come into this next one really strong for Lighthouse, and see what happens.
On the whole, looking okay, to say the least, for Talon. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Gonna roll out on the same thing.
Yep.
Global Esports, slight differentiation.
This time around, that differentiation is there's no more Widowmaker for Global Esports. Straight away, Lurax takes so much damage from everyone. Mango Giant even putting out his hand.
Lurax takes a lot of pressure just to pop off to the side for a moment.
He'll be lucky to survive.
Not going to let him off that easy, really. Faith not going to survive, definitely. Padapan runs one down, and Kim Mutates nothing done here.
Mango Giant getting pocketed by CQB, the Hong Kong Attitude support line, just showing up so big in this matchup. And Talon get a huge cleanup here. They will get the point as well. They're going to get the ultimate lead in Global Esports. Kind of just shaking their heads a little bit. Kim Mutates now going to respond with his own Widowmaker. Luke going to go on to the Wrecking Ball as well.
And look, I just don't know how I feel about this. Look, not that this other composition was doing any better for Global Esports, but they didn't really get much value out of this last time. Again, they do at least find a catch on Gagora, but there. Nice pressure, though. That is a far better response there from Global Esports. But sleep on Luke. They keep pressure back on him. Trying to roll away to safety. Will do so. Little Rax goes down, though, so Talon on balance is still in a decent position. Kill on Bashful, but trades are there on Luke and Faith. So Talon, they're still in possession of the point this whole time. Global Esports haven't actually had an opportunity to make a rotation to the point itself.
And it feels like every time Global Esports gets something, that was a great start, by the way. A kill into a res onto Gagora, into a kill on CQB unresable. That should have been the lead. However, Muse and Panapan go on this hunting squad, the 2 of them, finding members. They get the counterpark into Luke, and suddenly Talon just swing the numbers back over to their side. And once again, the cap is uncontested, 53 and going up.
I mean, it's starting to look like an endless skirmish that Talon are just always getting the better end of, and here it is again. It's not even really a big commit onto the point. Global Esports barely gearing up for the push, not able to really commit ultimates, and Talon just get kills where Global Esports frankly do not.
And the thing is, even when Global Esports get kills, which they got 1 in the middle of that fight, right? But then there's 2, 3 coming back in response from Talon. You need to be keeping up so consistently. If it's trading of punches here, it's Talon just swinging in big ones time and time again, whereas Global Esports sticking to the jabs and not doing nearly as much damage.
Just another one, man. Faith has got to try to go for a res. He does indeed, and they find Padapan with that EMP as well. But Gora, Rocket Rush, nice sleep, nice cancel on the whole. This is Global looking a lot better on the execution for this one. And Talon might just go, you know what? Pride's not a factor here. We don't need 100-0, 2 of them. Or maybe they do. They pop down the minefield, they kill Muse. Little Rax finds Mango Jai. CQB never even committed a res in the mix, all of that. So there you go. Global Esports is going to take it.
And by the way, you can just sort of see, I don't want to say panic, but for Global Esports, how desperate they are to just get that cap over, because Muse uses his mines, probably doesn't need to. Luke then responds with his own. Again, probably doesn't need to. Talon, we're obviously on the back foot there, but not enough confidence just to get rid of them. And as we hit into this next engagement, already a player ad for Talon.
In topsy-turvy world, the Farah pressures out the Widowmaker. Oh man, Little Rax just comes in, tearing it up on the back streets, and Muse trades a couple back, so it could still go the way of Talon with the res on Xenofly. Death on Little Rax, that was his own rocket through the final blow there. But I mean, it feels like if it keeps going this way, eventually Talon are just going to start getting the better end of these trades, as they have done so far.
It's the EMP coming through onto 2 as well. Luke is barely surviving this one, but as the cap comes through, who's contesting?
That was brilliant. The rocket from Gagora was still flying even when he got headshotted, so it still actually killed Xenofly on the point. So
even when you trade him, he trades you back posthumously.
Luke's just got to go in, keep some points on the point, or points, I don't know, boots, feet, whatever the ball has. But
limbs on
little,
the
like,
things.
Little like, he's got quite, there are points. They're like, it comes down to a point at the end of the metal leg, but
the point is there's not enough members available for Global Esports to contest any longer, and Talon Esports
Talon
specifically are going to win. And we even said, look, close looks like you get a round of a control map versus Talon. This was not even a round of control. This is unfortunately a singular cap, maybe 1.5 fight wins for Global Esports. It's not necessarily doomsday just yet, but I mean, that 12 win streak is now on a 13 for Talon. They don't seem to be slowing down.
It's an unlucky number though, so I guess that means Global Esports will win Volskaya. But look, on the whole, I mean, that was even just, you know, 1 or 2 extra picks away from Talon actually getting a double 100-0 anyway. It feels like Global Esports in the entire scope of both of those maps basically got just one fight where they slightly out-traded, and even then it was only slightly.
And by the way, where they were getting trades, and this is, I guess, the upside for Global Esports, is Kim Gute was eventually kind of out-sniping Bashful on Lighthouse, and that's probably the one area where they're like, okay, this is something we can now somewhat consistently get. However, every other place, and that was when we say, when they get 1 kill, they lose 3 of their own. Straight away after Bashful goes down, guess what? Muse gets a kill, Padapan gets a kill, Gagora gets a kill. Even when Gagora dies, he gets a kill. So many different ways for Talon just to kind of trade back their losses. It's incredible that despite how chaotic everything looked, and it just seemed like once more, everyone was kind of all over the place, Talon never seemed to be uncoordinated.
No, they always seem to just be a bit slicker one way or another. They look like they're, I don't know, it's like watching a heist, right? Where like they steal the phone and they're just passing it between, like, it seems like just random people on the street, but suddenly they're just everywhere.
Tell you what.
And then they steal your win.
It's like seeing the traffic in Shanghai. We were there, where it's just totally chaotic, but it works.
Yeah, you get...
Somehow everyone gets to where they need to go.
Get to the end of the journey. And it just, you do. It's incredible.
It's very well coordinated for how chaotic it is. And as we go into next map, which will be Volskaya, we'll see if this is somewhere that maybe for Global Esports they can turn things around. Where we are finding a bit of trouble, as we now know, at least in DPS matchups, outside of the pure Widow 1v1, it seems very tilted towards Talon, as you would expect. However, Volskaya, you can imagine on A specifically, there will be probably more of that. But if there isn't, we haven't quite seen a standard 3-3 into 3-3, or even a Sombra Goats 3-2-1 into a mirror composition. And even then, is that something both teams will agree to go on? If so, is that better for Global Esports? Because so far, as mentioned, DPS versus DPS is not.
The thing is, I think it might be better, but I think it might still just be too good for Talon anyway. Like, I don't mean like too good, like, oh no, we are above such things. Like, oh, goats. It's more like they're still that good a team, right? That, like, it's not like they've got a bad 3-3 or 3-2-1 with the Sombra. It's like, okay, maybe they do end up on the mirror matchup, but I would still favor Talon then. I don't really know if there is a particular composition where Global Esports will just have an advantage. I think they're just going to have to kind of kick and scream their way through this one if they're going to get any wins.
And you're also now looking, okay, a role change, or rather player swaps here, substitutions, where Talon does reveal some information, some minor information about what could happen. Usually. See a Pudo back in. You can expect either Pudo or Padapan playing the Sombra, so that's a bit of a 50-50. You know Bashful's probably mainly going to be there for the Brigade, or in this case now, some other DPSs that can sort of assist. But for the most part, if you see a Pudo suddenly May becomes an option, I don't know how much they're going to lead into that. But for Padapan, you know, they have a lot more options for playing Zarya instead, because that's one of his picks as well. Gagora might even get subbed out for both the time members.
Seen that.
I mean, all 3 DPSs could be played, and that could just change so much for Global Esports in terms of what do they need to be doing going to these maps.
And that's the thing. It really feels like Talon just have all the options, right? It's a buffet for them, and well, good thing it's Global Esports, because it's an intercontinental breakfast.
I'll tell you what, if you know me, there's nothing I like more than a buffet, so...
A veritable smorgasbord. That was a Symmetra from Global Esports just to set some members up on high ground.
This one will also be used to set members up on high ground. Which high ground will be the question for Talon as they roll out on this offense? Global Esports playing double sniper, which is now, as you can see from most of the games we have seen, a lot of teams have been opting to play double sniper.
This is it. This is the plan. This is how Talon want to bust the bunker.
Except this has been spotted.
Yeah.
Kim Gute very smart to check this angle early, but as this comes through, he's going to back out as well. So it's not going to be stopped necessarily. Padapan on the Bastion.
Difference is Gagora is also sticking to the Symmetra. I think it's because they want to keep being able to reposition if they need to, so Well, that's already Global dropping off the high ground. They don't want to just try and match toe-to-toe with this in a war of attrition.
So, by the way, one thing they can do is both teams have very good bunker break. In fact, now Kokora going down is a big deal.
Yeah, very nicely done. They've got the Batista option here, though, out of Mango Jai, so the Immortality Field does help pull some weight as they rotate through another teleporter. They haven't quite got the inside track on Global Esports. They've still not got the setup they want.
Ooh, nearly a kill.
Nearly had it.
That would have been big for them as well. Kokora coming back on a Doomfist now. They need the timing. They need all 6 members. The card needs, or rather the point position needs to be contested soon by Talon.
And I mean, that's the thing. Eventually, they got to walk out onto it. So Global Esports don't have to play ball here. They can just kind of stay out and about and go, well, you've got to move. Muse moves out to the point. He takes too much damage, has to back in.
So because the Immortality Field has been used, that's one thing off the table. Little Rex cleans up Kokora as he tries to come in.
Amplification Matrix plus the tank form just to try to get some damage out onto these members. But it's actually Talon coming out from this confined space. Global Esports are ready for it. They've set up around the peripheries and Talon walk into the kill box. Nicely handled by Global Esports.
Very well repelled indeed. A Little Rex, he gets himself the nano boost from teammate Xeonflex that saves him from getting killed by the tank configuration from Panapan, so they don't lose anyone. They don't even have to commit a res there. Global Esports actually played this defense phenomenally well, and for Talon now, changing up in a big way. Apudo Sombra, Panapan on the Genji's ult. They're going to be playing dive into double sniper, the ideal compositional counter. However, they don't start with realistically any ultimates except for nano.
It has been too long, Panapan. I do like the nano boost here onto Muse. It's the tempo option rather than holding on to it for the eventual blade. Kim Yute goes down. Muse sleeps though, and it's a little bit of a slowdown for Talon. Self-destruct, nicely placed, just keeps some pressure on. Raises now, and Little Rex finding a nasty end. Xenofly as well, never quite getting back in that mech. So Talon, the tempo nano boost ends up doing just enough. It opens up a few more options for Apudo and Patapan. They dive onto them, and they're able to get the work done.
What is most impressive about this is you're seeing a position swap from CQB and Mango Jai, where CQB is now playing Ana, Mango Jai is playing the Lucio, and the reason for this is in the previous comp, CQB already had a nano. You do not want to be giving up that nano to give the Ana back over to Mango Jai. They might look to swap now once they've capped, but they actually made this work, which is really nice to see. Dragon Blade now available for Patapan as well. EMP surely to be online soon. Global Esports making a pretty big swap for themselves, and Talon are going to make that sort of support swap as well.
And it was the right time to do it. There's still some ultimate options here for Talon, especially if they can get that EMP available. Global Esports now find themselves in the situation Talon were just in, where all they have is a nano boost.
The problem is Talon still have actually got a Dragon Blade here, whereas Global Esports with the Dragon Strike not nearly as effective. Nano boost being played now.
Guess who's powered up? It's you, Luke. Got to use that force while you've got it. I don't know. Talon, though, nothing really comes of it for Global Esports. Well, now they get to come in with EMP.
That's what it looks like when you mess with your photon missiles into the Death Star, but for Global Esports
you look like
now,
such an idiot.
Well, really, the whole world is ruined, but Apudo now has an EMP.
And it's a decent one, plus the Dragon Blade right on top of Xeonflex. Good counter trade, though, onto Mango Jai, but now Patapan finding some more targets. Taking a bit of heat, though, does respect the Winston. Finds a health pack. They've got a third so far, so just going to keep the pressure down. Self-destruct from Gogora keeps Global Esports on the periphery. Also helps DMX Xenofly, so it's just giving more kill options. But Patapan goes down, and Sleep on Muse just keeps the pressure off for a second as Global Esports are regrouping somewhat. Luke, though, might be in trouble here.
If Apudo goes down, this might be the push reset for Talon Esports, and
might be it anyway.
Despite that him being survived here, you're right, it could still be, depending on who still gets picks. Even if Talon are backing out, they can maybe absorb more ultimates. Namely now, the Primal Rage being committed by Luke. That's one more that Talon will be happy to see.
And that's a wacky one, because Talon were already kind of backing out, so Global Esports, I mean, yeah, they're going to get some kills here where maybe they previously wouldn't have killed Apudo and Muse, but on balance,
it's about pressure.
Just one less ultimate.
And the thing is, Global Esports were not convinced that Talon was actually going to leave. In fact, if Talon actually got one more pick there, they had the EMP coming up that could have turned this around even 5v6. So, Global Esports, knowing that situation, they are going to commit something. Primal Rage being possibly the cheapest one there, considering Luke is now going to change onto the Ryan as well. So, ends up not being a big wastage from him, and now Kim Gute nearly on that grab. Big deal for them.
So now we see Talon now just onto a more traditional 3-2-1. Patapan well off the Genji at this point.
Playing the bashful role. How well he does there.
All around the periphery, but Faith does get himself a sound barrier off. If they can finish Kim Gute before this grab, that would be very useful for them, but hasn't quite got him.
He's low though.
Committed there. He's really dancing with the devil here as Muse gets a massive shatter. Nice charge on Luke, but there's the grab to come in, plus the self-destruct. And because Luke was nano boosted, he does not go down to the shatter, charge, and fire strike. So Talon once again repelled.
Rebuffed here, but unfortunately for Global Esports, they did give away one tick. You see there, 53.2, so Talon get to walk away with something on the. Was it? Well, in that case, well, either way, well, there is a tick. There is a tick on there still from in offense on B from Talon Esports. They got something to work with overall. Despite that, though, what we can speak to from this particular engagement is both teams have basically reset ultimate. There will be an Earth Shatter coming online for Luke. Patapan's going to have rally soon. Talon will need to use this fight to build up most of these ults, and you will expect Luke to drop this hammer soon.
That's got to be the only thing they got to work with here with Global Esports. Talon don't need much themselves, but
Bait. That could be a big pick.
Yeah, hacked but not quite dead. There's the shatter though, and it's a critical one. Apudo's close to an EMP. If no one on Talon dies, they can still rally back in. Gagora barely lives, and now it's Apudo's time to get that EMP, and nicely done. Big catch onto Kim Ute to finish him off. Faith goes down. They only had the nano boost. They had to commit it onto Luke, who was trying his darndest, but they still lose Xenofly's mech in the whole kerfuffle, and now Talon gets to push on with much more emboldened ultimates. Xenofly going down very quickly there. Little Rax as well, and this looks like it's going to be the one. Already at 88.1%. Transcendence and style from Mango Chai. Also for tempo, let's be honest. Plus a grab. Talon going to cap.
You know you're dominant when Muse gets to commit a solo Earth Shatter on a demech Xenofly. Just like, no, I don't like you. You're going to go down here on the Baby Diva. One shatter.
Can't use that word, but it's F this guy in particular.
Wow, that's quite offensive. But on the side, also, you see from Talon, I mean, for Global Esports, rather, they are trying desperately to save Luke. They pop him the nano boost into him, and the whole time, he's having to hold up his shield. He can't even do damage. This is where you want to be building up another Earth Shatter. You want to be layering that extra 50% damage on top of your hammer swings, but because he's nearly dead, he's under so much pressure, Global Esports just can't put him in a great space, and they're constantly on the back foot in that fight. And I think it really starts with failing to kill Gagora. I've seen Talon consistently get those kills. When somebody's low, they get those members down. But unfortunately for Global Esports, letting Gagora live ends up being the player advantage.
Didn't fail to kill him on that one, I have to say.
Well, that's the thing, is if Kim Ute lands this shot, then you're doing good. But just threads in the air. I think that might have even been like somewhat accidental. But
this is literally the only reason that happens is because Muse has just walked through the teleporter. He didn't drop the shield. He had just walked through the teleporter, and Gagora hadn't quite stepped into it yet.
All right. By the way, now, it's Torbjorn Bunker. We talked about the Apudo man. We said it was going to be a possibility. And now he's going to make it a reality. Don't let your dreams be dreams, he says.
This one, Frosty Boy on Volskaya.
It's actually one of his signature picks now.
And at this point,
this is the hero that got them the 3-0 versus Lingan Esports at PAX Showdown. So he's well within his rights for that to be his signature hero.
You got to give it to him. His tea tastes really bad. Just thought I'd share that.
Are you talking about a political statement?
No, just physical tea?
Because that's something that you now need to
Wildberry flavored
on the
tea,
internet, otherwise people get confused.
Yeah, when I'm like, oh, and that's the tea, and I'm actually just offering someone
a beverage. Yes.
Yeah, and they're like, well, please spill the tea, sis.
Global Esports going to be changed up comps ever so slightly. Double sniper now going into bunker. And they definitely don't want to be playing 3-3 into a May. That would be rather bad. So dodging that one very quickly.
Option here from Global Esports, but they do need to get something out of it. Kim Ute is going to try the
same angle. Ooh, gotta be very careful. I do wonder what Apudo's real job here is going to be, because it's going to be difficult for him to split up anybody. Maybe
his parents are like, Apudo, get a real job.
Maybe once, I believe if the Hulk comes through, he puts up the wall. The hook can't go through the wall, obviously, so he can save a member. But aside from that, look, they even need to be fighting through their walls to contest this point, which is now Global Esports sitting on there.
Job is to out-snipe Kim Ute with the right click. But look, this is where Global Esports can just put the pressure on. And Talon don't have an easy answer. They just have to start getting down and dirty. So
Mega Giant trouble.
Guy eats a lot of pain, but has to use the bio grenade on himself. But meanwhile, in the brunt of the fight, lives for ages, and in the brunt of the fight, Talon absolutely destroyed Global Esports. They just looked completely lost with no access to healing. So Talon just barely broke a sweat in the end.
And by the way, Gagora plus Turret gets himself like 2-3 picks there, so Talon Esports can equalize so effectively, and now you're starting to see where the Mei can actually be useful. They're fighting on the point itself, and as they're contesting, they're kind of just splitting up the firing power from Global Esports, from like the choke points as well, because Global Esports were playing from the small room. Talon Esports, they let over one tick, which is a little bit unfortunate, but not the end of the world.
Small detail as well, you've only got the single healer on Global Esports, and the Mei can actually cut off the line of sight for Faith, but this is a wacky rotation.
2 big kills.
Talon, yeah, really nicely done by Global Esports to know that those members were where they were, and it removes a lot of options for Talon.
Well, you know people were respawning, and now 6v4 is a big deficit. Patapan's going to even this one up slightly.
Apudo, oh, that's a really big cancel there from Xenofly, and now the supercharger down as well, so Talon really not getting a lot done. Apudo goes cold on the points and probably won't last much longer when he heats back up. Going to stall a little bit more with the wall, but will inevitably go down to the headshots. Oh, Patapan wants to try and solo carry his team back onto this point, but getting pressured out now by Xenofly.
I mean, he gets the D-Mic there as well, or something. I mean, somebody gets that. This guy's incredible, and did you ever doubt him?
Do this? Is he really going to do this? Because they've barely got presence on the point, and now Muse is rolling back in on a wrecking ball.
If he hit that shot on the Flying Mercy, if Faith went down there, I would have spilled your tea right in front of you.
He didn't need to, because he still got 3 kills, and they held the point. That is
no good
absolutely
reason.
absurd. Please don't touch my tea.
Are you talking about a political statement?
Yes,
or your
please
actual
do not touch my political statements.
Tea.
I want them to go uncontested. I do not want anybody telling me I'm wrong.
Well, you were right about Patapan. He was definitely going to carry that one by himself.
My political
and by the way,
Patapan.
they only gave up 1 more tick over the course of that entire protracted battle. 30 seconds remaining, less than that even.
This guy ran for office, I'd vote for him, because the results speak for themselves. Talon now. Dragon Strike does little to nothing for them. Back onto the point is Global Esports. And there is a much thinner margin here for Talon because there's only the 1/3 left, but it's also potentially last fights, and CQB already down.
2 picks
as well. But I mean, last time that wasn't enough. So
I mean, does lightning strike twice?
Patapan's got a lot of work to do. He's standing in the middle of the minefield and he's dead. So the answer is no, and this will be a cap for Global Esports.
I think too many members went down too quickly. Patapan, as a Widowmaker, needs to kind of thrive in the Carroll moments where no one's looking at him. You got somewhat even trays, maybe a slightly at a deficit, but then he can bring stuff around. He gets 1, gets 2, gets 3, and suddenly you're back in business. They will be happily going to be, though, as there's not a lot of time left for Global Esports and no risk of a snowball potential because everyone had to reset in terms of heroes.
So, Talon,
discarding that wall with the
they're
turret.
happy to stick with the Mei here. It actually gets a lot of value on this B point. They may change off some of the other things potentially, but even now I don't even know, right?
I do think Apudo will swap after using the Blizzard, but does want to get the value of the ultimate first.
Certainly. They also don't have to defend for too long. That's also a nice skill on Faith in the rotation. Xenofly and Luke were also taking a lot of pressure, so that's already going to be a retreat for Global Esports.
Easy kill for Gagora onto Luke there as well. Ultimate's now starting to come really online, so we went into this engagement with no ultimates realistically for either team, but
Patapan's already charged up a Dragon Strike.
That's the molten core already.
Goodness gracious, the number of headshots.
Moving, take notes on this one.
Just so unnecessary.
What?
It's a completely different team. Just throw them right on that bus, why don't you? All right, well, Global Esports going to make some changes. Talon, the number of fadeaway headshots they got as Global Esports were retreating was insane. Maybe Moo should take notes on that, I don't know.
No, that was unnecessary.
Like what? How many things does Moo need to take notes on exactly?
After this, nothing. But Talon Esports, look,
So provide him an education.
Okay, we have a lot of ultimates available. Dragon Strike thrown out there willy-nilly. Well, actually did something, all right.
Yeah. Well, will he? Yes, he will. Apudo does go down to a headshot, though, and the Blizzard, unfortunately, didn't really accomplish much. So now we'll see if he is going to swap or whether he just really likes that Mei. And meanwhile, the rest of Talon not really having too much issue keeping a hold of the point as Global start to take too many casualties and again find themselves backing out.
Well, I think the answer could be both, because he could swap but also equally like the Mei. In this case, he's not going to swap and like the Mei just as much, but for Talon, it seems like Global Esports have somewhat halted this offense. Notably, look, it is going to be hard pushing as an Orisa. Not the greatest offense hero, despite having the combo capability with Xeon Flux. Where you really fail in is the rotations. You have to reset up the shield. dodge the wall.
And if you're not actually getting the picks with the Halt hook, and you're not getting the value, I like the molten core there. Kind of A, covers Apudo, and B, allows him to actually get aggressive, put down pressure. This is absolutely disgusting how much value Talon are getting, finding some very creative ways to use these picks.
This man's a real gamer right here. He's picking up so many kills on the Torb. It's incredible. Talon Esports.
No hammer kills, so it's not impressive yet.
No, it's impressive because he doesn't have to get hammer kills here. He doesn't need to meme. He's just got to play serious business Overwatch where you just got to collect your kills.
Serious Torbjorn.
The only Torbjorn I like.
You versus the Torbjorn she tells you not to worry about.
No one can hide from my sight.
Global Esports now, it does seem like where do you find your inroads? Because you haven't got a tick yet. You're down to your last minute, less than that even now. You are going to put in 2 of your only ultimates. Luke's already low.
Apudo barely stays alive. Even the pick on Mango Jai probably doesn't do it. Apudo at least gets the Blizzard off here. Nice cancel on the Dragon Strike. It is, again, it's just little things that can help Global Esports, but even then, you just have to expect that Talon is going to create a ridiculous play somehow. They're going to get huge picks. Now, they are losing a few more members, but nope, never mind. Now it's Muse and Mango Jai, and Global Esports find themselves in these unsustainable positions. They do at least pick up a tick here, but Talon is surely going to repel these few members, and this is, with only 10 seconds left on the board, that's probably the last shot Global Esports get.
Just looks too difficult for Global Esports. They just can't quite get enough, and they maybe catch on at Pudo. They maybe eat an ultimate somewhere, molten core all over the point.
So pretty.
Don't touch the lava.
Don't touch the goo, more like. Whatever slime-looking thing that is, but on the whole, look, it's just...
It's only slime because it's a green
feels like
skin.
Ilios again, right? Where it was just a lot of long, protracted scraps that Talon are just getting the better end of. They
Well, this time it's a lot... I want to say cleaner. It's not messy in terms of Ilios, where everything's all over the place, but this time around it was a bit more teams being... Okay, they were pretty coordinated anyway, but this is more like teams being coordinated as a standard unit rather than people just doing their own things. Pudo is probably the only one still kind of doing his own thing here, just out in the middle of the point. I guess as a May, you kind of want to be contesting, but...
Dude answers to no one.
Volskaya was a map defined by a few different players. Patapan, we saw just huge Widow headshots, which bought a lot of time. Yes, they didn't end up defending that A fully, but however, because they delayed it for so long, there wasn't a lot of time to take B. You saw Apudo being quite annoying on the point for B. He wasn't the highest impact player in terms of appearing on the kill feed, but high impact in terms of making sure that a tick didn't really come through right until the end. I think Agora getting an ungodly amount of Torb kills was just unreal.
Just impressive stuff. I mean, I'll be honest, this has been one of the less close matches we've seen Talon play so far. Yeah,
I think that's a real statement because we say that Global Esports are one of the few teams left to challenge them. We'll see if that challenge can still be accepted and met when we come back from the break. But for now, 2-0 lead as expected for Talon Esports. 14-0 on their map win streak. We'll see if they can make that 15 right after this break.